Juice heads, what's going on? Welcome to the second show of the second season of the Juice Giorgio Network. We are here for the Friday night Smackdown and Rampage drink along. I don't know why I just said Rampage weird, but this shit fucking happens. So basically, we need to drink during Smackdown, and we're just going to coast through Rampage. This is my third week of doing this. Feels good. I just ordered my Verizon Fios. So talk about upgrades for season 2. We still do have the original channel, by the way, rebranded as Uncommon Sense. So a lot of exciting things about to go down on JGN S2. Use the hashtag. Talk about it. Tweet about it. I know you're fucking fired up. I know my one viewer out there is fired up. But we do have a little Smackdown coming our way. So what better than to shamelessly plug my brand and to, I don't know what SmackDown does. It used to electrify, juicify, titillate, if you will. Now, not so much in the WWE. But speaking of that, I thought Raw, and you can see this sort of as a knee-jerk reaction to the CM Punk being in AEW now. I thought Raw was very fast-paced for the 3-hour show. I don't mean fast-paced like 98 fast-paced or even 97 fast-paced, but I just mean in general, found it to be the way I talk about Raw when I compare it to Dynamite, whereas Dynamite is pretty fast-paced and it feels like you don't have enough time to get everything in, which is a good feeling. Raw is like the opposite, where it's like you can just tell they're trying to kill fucking time. But this Raw, and look, it's always going to feel like that with a 3-hour show, with a bloated roster, with a micromanaged talent. That's going to happen. That's just the way it is. But under those parameters, I found it to be a very much improved format. And you hear from inside sources, allegedly, that Vince McMahon was livid on Monday. And they didn't, as of 6 p.m., didn't even have a show written. That reminds me of my old profession, the good old profession of being an architect in an architecture firm. And you could have a deadline a month out, but the owner of the company is the one that, even though you're working your ass off to meet the deadline, and you could be done a week before if you work diligently, the owner of the company will come at you and make you redesign shit. And then if you redesign one thing, it's a domino effect of other things you have to change. And I've never written for TV. I've never written for pro wrestling, but I would imagine it's the same thing. And I think that's with anything creative, anything that's not like math related. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying there's just creative shit and math shit, art and science, if you will, but anything that involves art, yeah, you're done. So that's never a good thing. And it just, speaking of juice, has Vince McMahon lost his juice? I don't know, man. Look, I wish for the best. I came into this as a WWF fan. I don't want to see the WWE suck. So hopefully they'll impress us tonight. We got SmackDown opening up right now. And I wanted to talk about this because on my old show, What's Trending, which is actually getting rebranded as You Got Juice, which I'm very excited about. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be on this channel, as well as our rebranded show, no longer called the NFL Boycott Club. We're going to take all the political stuff and put it to the side, and it's going to be rebranded as Football Players. Much more fun name. I think it's going to be a little bit more fun to do now that we have a season under our belt, me and my co-host. See, I feel comfortable jabbering about wrestling for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I can do that. Football, I could probably do that too. But football, I like having a co-host that is just as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable than me. And it makes for a fun show. And as a matter of fact, I was going to do a standalone Dark Side of Football kind of recap show, but I don't like talking sports alone. I really would rather have someone to play off with when it comes to sports. So we will incorporate some Dark Side of the Football into these football player shows. And we also got the name NFL out of the show, right? Never know. Just in case said show blows up, can't have the name NFL in it. So that's the thing. That's really a fucking thing. So Smackdown opening up with a recap of last week with Finn Balor and the Street Profits kicking the asses of the Usos, and Roman Reigns just leaving like a chicken shit heel and letting his cousins get their asses kicked. Come on, Us. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? So I don't mind a recap. Oh, they're doing a title match tonight. Talk about knee-jerk reactions. I forgot about that. Yeah. If they had balls, they'd open up with the title match a la Saturday night's main event, where you had in that time slot, the premise behind that format was you're going on the air at 11 p.m., which is pretty late. You're doing a 1 to 2 hour show that's going to go till 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. You're not going to have all your viewers from beginning to end. So we're going to put on the main event within the first half hour. That's the thinking behind that. And then the undercard after. I want to see what they do. I think if they have balls, they'll put that fucking title match on right now. That's what I want to see. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to play the ratings game. Well, we'll see. My prediction, they're going to play the ratings game. Yes, of course, the Usos are coming out. Yeah, I think that's a big mistake. I think you open up with the fucking Universal title match. Everybody wants to see Finn get that belt back. He's the first fucking champion. Wait, so it looks like the Usos are coming out to a babyface reaction. I thought they were supposed to be heels. Let's see. That's awkward, man. They're supposed to be heels, I thought, and they're getting cheered. Or did they go their separate ways from Roman Reigns? Not that I know of. Very interesting. Very interesting. Not really. It's not really interesting at all. But yeah, they're going against the Street Profits. Tag team champ. Oh, no. Oh, there's a number one contenders match tonight with the Street Profits. Okay. But to get back to Raw, let's get back to Raw, as painful as that might be. We had Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Damian Priest fucking tearing it down. And again, I'm not a match reviewer. I'm not a recapper. You got other wrestling shows for that. I just try to give you my opinion, my take on it. I think being a 30-year fan of anything gives you the right to have a take on it. So here I am. So, I don't know. Let's hear what the Usos got to say. They're usually pretty good on the mic.
Now, in your city.
Sounds like they're getting a mixed reaction.
You want to know something, Us? All last week, all I kept thinking about was, why the hell would the Street Profits want to stick their nose in some family business? Why? I'll tell you why, Us. Maybe because they're trying to make a name for themselves? Why? Hey, Us, maybe because they're trying to prove themselves. Nah, what they did.
Tell you what, the Usos can cut a promo, man.
What they did was disrespect the bloodline. Yeah, you want to prove yourself to the 7-time WWE Tag Team Champions.
See, The Usos have been around for a minute, probably about 10 years. Let's look that up, actually. How long have I'm like my own Jamie to my own Joe Rogan. The Usos tag team. Let's see here. So yeah, they debuted, 2009 in FCW, but they got their main roster call up in 2010, it looks like. All right. Street Profits coming out. I do appreciate the Street Profits. I mean, I never thought Angelo Dawkins was really a standout in NXT, but there's something about him I liked. He looks like a likable guy, sort of like me. He doesn't look like me. I don't look like him, but I'm saying we're both likable guys. And, you know, I think he's the kind of guy that you want to invite into your living room. He's got that look to him, I think. And obviously the breakout star is going to be Montez, as we all know. But that's cool. I mean, I like Angelo, and I like that he's getting a little run here on the main roster. Not bad.
They do be spitting facts, bro. Oh, yeah.
Yo, that just sounded like he said fag.
They ass whoop right here tonight in Jacksonville.
Oh, dude, they're in AEW territory. They're in Jacksonville. No shit. That would be funny if they went to the same amphitheater that AEW used to do Dynamite from every week. What is it? Daly's Place? Street Profits are always fucking fun, man. I mean, I don't pop for too many people on the roster, but the Street Profits, you know, they got it. They got it going on. So I don't know if I misread number one contenders match, but it looked like earlier they put up a graphic that said number one contenders match. And it said the match we're seeing right now, the Usos versus the Street Profits. But how is this a number one contenders match? If does that mean if they win this match, they're the number one contenders? Little confusing there. See, this stuff can be confusing. A, if you're there live at a televised event, or B, if you're not listening to the commentary. And as much as we shit on Michael Cole in the commentary, I mean, as painful as it is to listen to him, they really do guide you through the show. I think Jim Ross, the way he puts it, is that the performers, as in the wrestlers, play the music, and the commentators give that music some lyrics. Very interesting stuff here. Not really. JGS season 2, baby. Really excited to bring you guys You Got Juice, the rebrand version of What's Trending. I think that's going to go really well. We actually will make What's Trending a segment that sometimes will be on the show, sometimes won't be on the show. Because it's my fucking show. I'll do what I want. But yeah, we're gonna have segments, baby. Not huge ones, but you know, we got things in the work here. So I don't know if I mentioned this just yet. I mean, we're only on for 14 minutes as of right now, but yo. It's me. It's DDP. His yoga, DDP Yoga, I will fucking plug it. Not that he needs it. No joke. I've been doing it for about a week. Today I had to take off because I was sore as a motherfucker. I've been looking for alternative ways to get cardio workouts done because I am getting old, I will tell you, because I've been a workout guy for 23 years and never have I felt an injury until about a year ago with my left knee. Had to have that MRI'd and checked out. That shit's no joke. Luckily, it was just runner's knee. And then What do I do on the treadmill? Because I'm a treadmill guy. Fuck up my calf. Again, no joke. So I was looking for something different. I need to tighten up. And yeah, DDP Yoga was my, if I can't do the treadmill, yeah, fucking DDP Yoga. Highly recommend it. If you're looking for something different, check it out. I'm a week in, and yeah, I'm feeling it. And it kicked the shit out of me yesterday. And look, I'm not an Olympic athlete, but I'm not a slouch either. I've been, like I said, 23 years I've been working out. Sometimes I'm in better shape than others, but I'm in relatively pretty okay shape overall. But even for someone like me that, I'm not quite a beginner, but I'm a little more towards intermediate. Even this shit kicks my ass. So that's good, though. If you're feeling like you're getting your ass kicked, if for all those people that have never really trained or worked out and are looking to get into it, if you feel like someone just kicked the fucking ever-loving shit out of you, you're doing it right. Keep going down that path. And what happens is eventually your body will adapt. You get your results, and you do the same thing, and you don't feel like you're getting the shit kicked out of you. And then that's when you got to step it up a little bit, and so on and so on. And that's really the never-ending tale that is trying to stay the fucking shape. Oh, man. But speaking of DDP Yoga, you know who I really think can benefit from DDP Yoga? Nia Jax. Now, again, I don't think Nia Jax is ever going to stumble upon hashtag JGNS2. But, again, God bless her. She's got a spot on the roster. She's been, 5 years on the main roster? 4 years? 6 to 7 years altogether since NXT, I want to say. Good for her. She's got we'll call it a different look. And I really think she could benefit from DDP Yoga. And this isn't a slight at her. And again, I'm not Mr. Olympia here. I'm just Juice Giorgio. I'm just a guy. But what we saw Monday night, just a tad unprofessional between her and Charlotte. Just a tad. Now, look, Charlotte's the number one, if you want to call her lady, number one ladies wrestler, number one women's wrestler, maybe on the planet. And I don't know exactly what happened. I mean, it looked like a high intense match. It looked like a pretty high intense match. So we know what happened. We don't need to recap it. But be a fucking pro. Look, when I'm at work at my job and I get pissed off, I just can't snap the fuck out and potato somebody. I don't know exactly what happened. I heard it happened. I didn't really like I said, it just looked like a pretty high intense match, but some of that was a shoot. And look, they hashed it out. The finish was the finish. We hear there was nothing backstage really to that. But it's hard for me to respect people that are unprofessional. And this is not the first time you hear a Nia Jax story or something come up with her. Let's check in with the commentary on SmackDown. Let's see how they're doing.
Jimmy and Jay hoisting Dawkins up to the top rope. Could be catastrophic for Dawkins.
I'm so confused because I thought they brought in Pat Buck or somebody. Not Pat. Is it Pat Buck? I might be thinking of the indie guy. But I thought they brought somebody in whose name I cannot recall. But why is Corey Graves on SmackDown? Not that I don't like him. I'm a fan. But I just thought he was like the Raw guy, and they brought in that other guy. They're all over the place, man. The WWE. They really are. Montez Ford. That was a nice splash. So you can definitely see that there's some kind of a knee-jerk reaction on the part of the WWE over the whole CM Punk thing. So they're definitely, you can tell, and especially if the stories are true about McMahon from Monday, they're just throwing shit against the wall at this point and seeing what works. This is basically, I feel like it's a 2-hour countdown to Rampage. I'm actually excited for Rampage. But look, I got nothing against the Usos. I got nothing against the Street Profits. These 4 guys can work. So you see the Usos trying to get heat. Now, that was good. The way Montez just dove on them, and I'm not a diver guy. I'm not a fan of it. And AEW was guilty of this too, especially the other night, that one match. But there's too much telegraphing for these dive spots. Again, realism is good. Realism is good. Don't be afraid to make the simulated violence look real. Don't be afraid. Cocksuckers. So, Dynamite did impress me. It was a nice go-home show before All Out. I think we might do an All Out show. That might be apropos. I think I might be renting it on Fight TV. But speaking of All Out, let's break it down a little bit, huh? Oh, there's some blood, man. There's some blood. Paul Heyman.
Stop doing that!
Well, hey, between the Usos and the Street Profits and Finn Balor and Roman Reigns, there's a whole lot going on here tonight.
It's going to be awful of criticism of these Braxton. You need to enjoy the moment. You have worldwide television every Friday night.
Ha! That's actually really funny.
Mistress of the obvious. As I was saying, Liz Braxton, there comes a time in the life of every...
That backstage chick is pretty hot. I like her.
Hi. Timing's a little... No. I always love... Yes.
Brock Lesnar, right? Obviously a knee-jerk reaction to Punk.
Well, I don't have a lot of privacy here right now, but... I'll deliver the message. You know, if I could just say one, hello? Hello?
He does such a good job playing like a New York Jewish guy.
You know, you are so
Which he is.
right, Paul. I am definitely enjoying this moment.
You know, if you want to take out the trash, you can start with her.
Wow. Big E with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Yeah. You know, I think, you know, it's about time you try giving Big E a run. I have no problem with that. Are they teasing that maybe he'll cash it in tonight? I can't believe Becky Lynch, or can't believe I totally forgot that Becky Lynch fucking squashed what's her name at SummerSlam. That's crazy. That's crazy that she squashed Bianca Belair. Oh, one point I wanted to make about the Usos. They pointed out they were 7-time tag team champions. They've been on the main roster for 11 years. So 7 title runs in 11 years, I'll buy. I think Charlotte, who's been on the main roster for 6 years? She's had about 10, 11 title runs at this point. It's just the playing of hot potato with these belts. I don't have a problem with it, but it's almost as if everybody needs the belt for a certain period of time. It's like at some point, what's the number percent-wise of the female roster? Name a percentage that are going to have been former world champions. What do you want? 80%? 70%? It's got to be over 50. And doesn't that make having the belt not as special? That's what I would think. So now we're seeing a little recap. Or no, is this live or recap? Oh, it's recap. That drives me crazy too. When somebody's coming out and they cut to a recap package as they're coming out. Why not either show the recap package at a different time or just do it differently somehow? And again, it's easy to criticize because I'm not the one producing the fucking show. But in real life, and again, I grew up with this being presented in a much more serious, much more realistic matter. We know what it is, all right? But if I'm coming to the ring to talk some shit, or if I'm coming to the ring for a match, why would I stop to let a video play when I want to kick the person's ass in the ring? Becky actually looks pretty goddamn fucking sexy tonight. Hard to believe she had a kid, man. Maybe she did DDP Yoga. I wonder what she did to drop the weight. But she is married to CrossFit Jesus, so probably not a big mystery what she does, huh? What are these weird NXT commercials we're seeing? 914 NXT. Like, are they rebranding NXT, I guess? Is that what that's supposed to be? Weird. Or is it supposed to be like another season or something? Look, NXT is always going to be looked at now as a loser show. Because they had to take it off the WWE network, which I've said before makes it less special of a thing. It makes the WWE network that much less attractive to have, right? That was one of the perks, man. I mean, I used to really enjoy NXT when it was on the network, and ever since they jacked it up to 2 hours and brought it to cable, not only has it felt less special, it's felt more formulaic of a generic Raw, of a generic SmackDown, in my opinion. And look, we know they're doing their best. We know Hunter's doing everything he could to put on the best show possible. And it still, in my opinion, is the best show of the week for the WWE. But with that said, it's gone down, in my opinion, in quality. And when you dilute anything, it's going to go down in quality. That 1 hour a week, forget that it was even on the network at all. But just the 1 hour a week, and I always preach this, left you wanting more, right? What does Dynamite do? What does now Rampage do? Which Rampage is only an hour, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. They leave you wanting more. So I actually expect a very strong go-home show for Rampage. I really do. And I guess they were advertising Punk was going to be on. So we shall see. Hour and a half now till Rampage. This feels more like a Rampage countdown show, and it's like we got to suffer through SmackDown together to get to it. But let's talk a little All Out. So we got the 10-man tag team match that's going to be on the pre-show. I'm not exactly sure how you get access to the pre-show. I don't know if it's free. It'll probably be on YouTube, I would imagine, since they have a very strong YouTube presence. And you're going to have Orange Cassidy, who, I mean, he's pretty over, and they gave him a pretty big push. It sounds like, or seems like, Tony Khan and the powers that be really, after Jericho gave him a nice little rub, it sounds like he's going places. So I'm actually surprised that Orange Cassidy is on the pre-show, but nevertheless, it's Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta. So what happened to Trent Beretta? Is he injured? Let's look into that. I mean, if you're watching the show, maybe you know, but I don't know, and I'd like to see. Again, this is not a new show. It's okay. I've seen Trent Beretta many times actually here in Jersey at the Rawway shows. So what's his deal? What's going on with him? Blah, 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 blah. On March 31st, 2021, he made his return where he went on to neutralize Miro. So it looks like he hasn't been on TV since March 31st. That's weird. But it sounds like he's still signed to AEW. Maybe he's injured. That's the only explanation I can think of. But anywho, you're going to have the best friends. Do we want to hear what Marble Mouth Becky has to say? Let's see. She looks pretty hot.
The man has come around to Jacksonville.
Bro, they're in enemy territory. This would be like being in Atlanta in the fucking mid to late 90s.
As your SmackDown Women's Champion, I walked down to this very ring. No, you deserve a chance, but okay.
Is Jacksonville going to be like the next Chicago for wrestling fans? That's interesting because, AEW's home base or whatever. No, look, I think AEW, if you go back to that press conference day in Jacksonville outside the Jaguars stadium, I guess that's called Daly's Plaza, the whole property. You go back to that day, you saw Y2J was there. I know he doesn't like to be called that, but I'm always going to call him Y2J because that's my favorite. You know what? I lied. That's not even my favorite iteration of him. I love the AEW version of Jericho, but to me, he's just always Y2J, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But if you think about that day, I mean, that had to be what, 2018? When they announced that they were forming it, maybe it was 2019. Again, another good question. Let's see. I guarantee Wikipedia says exactly when they did the press conference. Blah, 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 blah. February 7th, 2019. Yeah. So here we are 2.5 years later. And you got Punk headlining one of their, I guess, Big Four pay-per-views, if you want to call it that, for AEW. But that's crazy. Who would have thought? That's really not that fucking long ago. If you think about it, I've been doing podcasting for a year. Look how far I've come with it. But it's going to be a good show. Definitely going to be a good show. So you have the best friends teaming with Jurassic Express, who, again, with how over Jungle Boy Jack Perry's getting, I stick to Don Tony's premise. The name Jungle Boy is fine, but call him Jungle Boy Jack Perry or Jungle Boy Jack. Don't just call him Jungle Boy, because that makes him sound smaller and younger, and he's already not a huge guy. Oh, and they're taking on in the pre-show the Hardy Family Office. All right. Nothing wrong with that. Again, though, that's just, I wouldn't expect that to be on the pre-show. But if you look at the card, everything else does feel a little bit bigger. So I guess at the end of the day, something has to go on the pre-show, right? So let's see who's in that Matt Hardy, Private Party, and the Hybrid. But I think the the Hybrid 2. Is that like Ratcatcher 2 from fucking the Suicide Squad? I feel like these guys came from the WWE at some point. Or one of them. I thought maybe Jack Evans did. Let's see. Did Jack Evans come from the WWE? He was in Ring of Honor. That makes sense. TNA, Dragon Gate, Wrestling Society X. That shit was classic. On MTV. No, looks like he never had a WWE run. You know, Lucha Underground, it looks like he was in that. It's a shame that really never took off. And even with being on Netflix, which you would think would be a big deal. But just not meant to be. But good stuff, though. Really good stuff. See, they took the fact that wrestling is fiction and sort of ran with it. And I like that. Sort of like the Boneyard match from last year's WrestleMania. You know what? I have no problem if you want to go all in with the fiction. It's when it's like half-assed like this. And they're in like the not gray area, because gray area would mean like you're not sure if it's real or not. I don't know what you call this, the brown area, but whatever it is, it's not good. Because it's like, it's too fake looking, pretending to be real, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can put it. Let's listen in on this, though. Let's see what Bianca Belair has to say, because after all, this is a live watch-along.
Ever make excuses for myself.
Ever. Bianca Belair had no business, by the way, getting squashed at SummerSlam like that. That was complete, unadulterated bullshit and nonsense.
So let me explain it to you so that you can fully understand why they call me the EST of WWE. See, last week I showed that I was the strong S when I beat 3 other women, and while you were away, I showed that I was the fast S, as in the fact.
Man, I'll tell you, Bianca Belair, she is jacked and shredded, dude. She sort of looks like that chick. I've been watching a lot of Entourage lately, Juice Heads. She sort of looks like that chick that Johnny Drama bangs on season 1 of Entourage. She had the Myoplex fucking tank top. Jeez, she might be a little too jacked.
I do.
Which again, if that's what you're going for, fine. I'd rather that than the Nia Jax look.
He's defending his championship.
Sorry, Nia. Try DDP Yoga.
Big time Bex. So how about you show up and you show out since you're doing all of this, and how about you do the same thing as Roman tonight?
Again, more WWE knee jerking. Now, are they going to let Becky Lynch chicken shit heel her way out of this, or is she going to put the belt on the line? We saw a few title matches Monday. That triple threat I didn't mention was for the U.S. Championship. As you know, if you're watching this, you definitely know that already. Let's hear Becky's answer. See, I like that. She gets it. She's letting the crowd do its thing. That's exactly what I would do.
Well, give it down what Roman Reigns does.
Good.
No.
Good chicken shit heel maneuver. Good chicken shit heel maneuver by Becky Lynch. I like that. She really got some good heat there. Man, she is looking good, man. She's looking better than ever. I was always a fan of hers. I was never like a diehard, like super fan of hers, but I just might be now. From Ireland to Iowa, who would have thunk it? If that's where, I believe Seth still does live there. The Dirty Dogs backstage. I like these guys. Like they'll get all the FaceTime they want on SmackDown, but in a big pay-per-view, not so much, which is unfortunate.
Hey, new kid. Yeah, Tony Storm.
Tony Storm.
That's me. You live life on the wild side, right? I do. Excellent. You gonna
Smoking.
do yourself a favor and check out my match? Of course. Great answer. You know, do you want like a front row seat? I have a little pole around here. I got Bob hanging back. You can sit in my corner. don't offer that to everybody, so.
Thanks. You're great.
Yeah, like you. Yeah.
But
Dolph is the
I'm
man.
actually rooting for big boobs.
Okay. I think we're all kind of rooting for him. He's a nice guy. You know how that goes. But let's get around, man.
Who the hell did she say she was rooting for? Okay, I believe this is Shinsuke Nakamura about to come out. It is cool that they found a jacked fucking guy to play guitar.
Booms! The King of Rock, with the one true king of WWE, as well as the Intercontinental Champion, King Nakamura!
Vince McMahon definitely has a hard-on for guys that can play an instrument. Xavier Woods, you can tell that was totally his idea, and Vince just fucking like came. He must have came like shooting ropes when Xavier Woods at some point probably pitched that he wanted to play his is it a trumpet? I'm pretty sure it's a trumpet. I know nothing about music and how it works, or instruments for that matter. Or is it a trombone? I actually think it's a trombone. But no, look, sometimes it pays off if you were a band geek, right? Something to bring to the table. So I wonder in this tag team match, is it heel versus heel? It's weird. It's weird when you can't tell. Like earlier, I couldn't tell if the Usos were babyface or heel. All right, back to All Out here. So 21 women casino battle royale for AEW Women's World Championship match. See, unlike what the stupid WWE does, they'll have 2 Royal Rumbles in one night, which I detest. You do one casino battle royale at All In for the men. You do one casino battle royale, easy for me to say, at All Out. Makes total sense. By the way, I was surprised to hear this. Not one writer at AEW. Not that I was surprised to hear that, but dude, where do you want to work? If you're, say, an established guy, you've made your money already, you don't really need to work, but you want to work. Where would you rather work? Would you rather be micromanaged and handheld at the WWE with 50 million unnecessary writers and McMahon, who I don't know if he's losing it, but something's up with McMahon, clearly. So would you rather be there, or would you rather be at AEW where you can bring your own character to the table? Look at Aleister Black. Let's see what he goes by. I'm actually surprised he's not on the card here. He's something Black. It's funny, the Big Show is on the card. By the way, did you hear JR the other night? He fucking called. They're trying to call him by his real name, Paul White, no, because like no more BS. And fucking Jim Ross called him the Big Show at least 3 times that I fucking heard. JR, man, I love you, but you can't be calling this guy the Big Show, especially when he's coming out wearing a shirt that says no more BS on it. Oh, man. So, should I read the 20 names because there's one TBD? Sure, let's do it. Nyla Rose, who, again, I sort of allied with Val Venus on Twitter from kind of defending him and pushing back a little bit, because I don't disagree with what he said about Nyla Rose and his comments about it. And he was just talking, again, about the perception of something. Do you want it to look fake, or are you trying to make it look real? I totally get it. And I totally get what he's saying. And my conclusion, because I have my opinions, but when I do a show like this and I have to verbalize my opinions and talk them out, sometimes I do reconsider a little bit. because I have to justify my opinions when I'm on the internet. Because I'm doing this, shit on the internet never goes away, so you don't want to say anything stupid. And my final opinion on Nyla Rose is, you know what? And I've said this before. If the other women are cool with it, it's all work anyway. I watched on an indie show on Fight TV, Nick fucking Gage versus Tessa. So I'm not a big like intergender match fan, but if you can have that. Oh, Rick Boogs? Is that what Tony Storm said? Rick Boog? Like what? Where did they get this name from? Is this like the battle of like the ravishing Rick Rude lookalikes, and they want to try to sound like his name? Because you have Bobby Roode in the same ring as Rick Boogs. Well, Bobby Roode now is Robert Roode. And he no longer does have that mustache. Because that would be gimmick infringement now, because this guy has it. I do like his singlet, though. He's got a singlet that looks like denim. So who else do we have? Thunder Rosa, who, I don't know, is she in two promotions simultaneously right now, or is she just straight up AEW? Let's see. We got time. We got time before Rampage. Let's check it out. Yeah, it looks like she's straight up AEW now, which is good. She's probably one of the top 5 hottest women in wrestling. And by hottest, I mean heat meter hot, not hot. But she is kind of hot too. The Bunny, who I like. I'm a big fan of the Bunny. So what happened to the Butcher and the Blade? Is the Butcher no longer with AEW? Let's check that. I'm kind of curious. We're getting a lot of questions answered tonight. The Bunny actually is adorable. Like, it's hard for me to look at her as a heel. But let's see here. The Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. Wow, so she only started wrestling, it looks like. Oh, never mind. I was going to say in 2016, but it looks like she started in 2013. No. Shit. She's been in the game for a long-ass fucking time. Wow, 2005 she started. Whoa. That is nuts. So she's definitely a very experienced veteran. I'm surprised that the WWE never gave her a look. So they don't talk about the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny on her own Wikipedia, which is... Oh, no, they do. Okay. So the Butcher, let's see. It says he is signed to AEW, so maybe he's injured too. But he's good. I mean, I like that tag team a lot. That's a really good heel tag team. Let's see what's up backstage with Becky Lynch. Or did we miss it? We can wind it back. It's YouTube TV.
I imagine a veteran like him is dangerous.
Up.
Yeah, and she'll get it when the man's ready. Not tonight.
You're right, Becky. That match is not going to take place tonight. That match is going to take place at Extreme Rules.
Just everybody's.
All right. These gimmick pay-per-views got to stop too. I mean, it's just awful. It's an awful idea. Cesaro is not an awful idea. Cesaro is awesome, who's coming out, who's had a pretty decent push this year. But it feels like start and stop with him. Like, sort of like when Dolph Ziggler was hot at this point, 8 years ago? Kind of crazy that he's still with the company. But again, just another guy making too much money. And it just is what it is. So, but good for Cesaro, man. He's carved out a spot for himself on the roster. Anyway, back to the Women's Battle Royal. Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, Diamante. A lot of these girls I don't know. Penelope Ford, obviously, we know. So I wonder what happened with the commentary on SmackDown as they're doing a wide shot now of Michael Cole and Corey Graves. Oh, Pat McAfee. That's who it was. I wonder what happened to Pat McAfee. And again, nothing against I scared myself with my own fucking paper here. Nothing against Corey Graves, who does a pretty decent job at worst, which is a compliment. I'm just surprised he's back on both shows. So he is the workhorse now of the commentators, it looks like. So we have Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, who I don't know. I'm going to butcher this name. Hikaru Shida? No, that wasn't that bad. All right. I think I've seen her. Emi Sakura, who I don't know. Jade Cargill, who I don't know. Kiera Hogan. Interesting name. I think I might have seen her. Abaddon, who doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Leela Hirsch, who I don't know. Killen King. That's a pretty clever name. No Wikipedia. Hasn't quite made it yet, I guess, to Wikipedia status. It's okay. I haven't either. And I'm on season goddamn 2 of my own network. How about that? The whole network's on season 2, folks. Not just the show. Rebel, who, I don't know. That's an interesting name. Smoking, though. Little smoke show over there, Rebel is. Jamie Hayter. I like that name, too. Anna Jay, who I don't know. Riho, who everybody knows at this point, and then the one extra woman TBD. So I always like a good battle royal. Who the fuck doesn't? Right? I appreciate it. Then we have in a singles match. Oh, I can't talk. Jon Moxley versus, I'm going to butcher this name, Satoshi Kojima. Okay. So is Jon Moxley no longer the fucking champion? He was IWGP champ, I think, or something like to that effect. Let's do some digging up on Mr. Moxley here. Who I do have a lot of respect for him and Cody Rhodes and even Y2J for not making it like the Triple H show in AEW. Not that really, I don't think Moxley could, but it could have been all about him when he was the champ. But he had a good little run. So his Wikipedia page doesn't say his title. Well, it should have what titles he's had. Just doesn't really say one. IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion 2 times, but who knows if he still has that. Dude, he's very decorated, man. He's got a lot of fucking championships and achievements, dude. 3-time IC champion, United States champion. He did have the strap, although not the greatest run in the WWE. But good for him. I mean, he's one of those guys that told Vince McMahon to go fuck himself. Went on to AEW and has been doing awesome there. So good for him. Then we have the big show, according to JR. I love you, JR. I'm just fucking around. We have Paul White versus QT Marshall. Now, it's interesting that, and forgive me, Aleister Black, I don't recall your full new name. But he's not on the card, but QT Marshall is. That's just, I don't know. I find that interesting. We got Cesaro, who, by the way, another quirk I hate is when they come out to the ring and then they go to commercial. Why do they got to do that? And I've been to live events where they do that, and they just fucking hang out in the ring. And it's like, it's just so awkward. I don't know. It's just weird. Are they supposed to like trying to be cliffhanging us so we don't change the station? It's I don't know. They do a lot of weird things, man. They do a lot of weird things. So anyway, that Jon Moxley match should be good because he's solid. I don't know too much about his opponent. And then I thought they did a good job setting up the Big Show match for someone that nobody really cares about. They at least made me somewhat hyped about that match with the Billy Gunn turning on him, hitting him with the chair. And by the way, QT Marshall is a good heel. And I guess, by the way, speaking of people not on this card, Aleister Black, where the fuck is Cody Rhodes? And again, to my point, that's why I give Cody Rhodes credit. And I'm not sure if he's injured or what's going on. But a lot of us, including me, thought that this was going to be, by this I mean AEW, the Cody Rhodes show. We thought we were going to have a reign of terror, so to speak. And he's done the total opposite. He's put people over. I mean, he lost a match saying he would never have another shot at the heavyweight title. And so far, it's all true. You know, in wrestling, there's always a loophole somewhere. There's always a match to undo whatever was did. And they haven't done that. So that's good, man. I'm really liking AEW. And this is not a suck AEW dick show and shit on the WWE. I want the WWE to be good. I really do. But, and again, AEW is not perfect, but just a far superior, in my opinion, program. And, you know, the talent in both companies is solid from A to Z. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. So, again, not a knock on the talent at all. But just one show is sort of got their shit down, and the other one, see, one show is a wrestling show, and the other show like tries to be too much more than that. But anywho, talk about stipulations. We got Y2J taking on MJF, and they did a really good job building this up, and this has been building up for months and months now. But if Jericho loses, he must retire from in-ring competition. And I like the way that they framed this because it's realistic. It's not his career is over. It's not he's going to leave AEW. We all know he signed, I think, a 3-year deal. So that wouldn't be up until at least another year from now. I believe he even said he would just do commentary. So I like that. It because like we know as a shoot, he's there till 2022. What month? I don't know. So the use this thing that WWE rarely uses is called logic. And they said, you know what? I will retire from being a wrestler, but I'm going to stick around in the company. Boom. I like it. I like it. Now, do we think that's really going to happen? Who knows? But the way they framed it makes it believable. And that's all I ask of Vinnie Mac. Excuse me for 1 second here, Juice Heads. Never sneeze on air and not mute it for all those wannabe podcasters out there. There's wannabe podcasters, and then there's Juice fucking Giorgio with use hashtag JGNS2, baby. Oh my God, speaking of baby, and that Kofi Kingston commercial is just so annoying. And I feel like they just play it now to annoy me. But I guess Fox doesn't use that commercial because I haven't seen it once tonight. And if this were Raw, we would have seen that commercial a minimum of 8 times by now. I'm not even exaggerating. But that's just the way it goes. So let's see. Going further down this card. By the way, it's not a prediction show, but I mean, I'll weigh in. What do I think is going to happen with Y2J and MJF? I mean, I look, I think Jericho goes over. I'd be shocked if they actually put him on the sideline. But again, they got a fucking, not a bloated roster, but they got a loaded roster now. So who knows? But I would really love to see the AEW version of Y2J and the AEW version of CM Punk have a proper feud. Not that their feud for WrestleMania, what was it, WrestleMania 28 in Miami? Not that their feud was all that bad. And it was for one of the belts. Well, that was the year the big gold belt where Daniel Bryan lost it in like 8 seconds to Sheamus. So that was for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. I hate saying I'm on the air. I'm sorry for that. That was obviously the year that The Rock and Cena main evented, and rightfully so. That was the rightful main event. But you had Punk and Jericho. I don't know if that's their favorite match ever, but it was a solid match. I didn't hate it. But that's really something I'm looking forward to in AEW. And I think there's so many things Jericho has left from a creative perspective that he wants to do probably with this roster. I just don't see him losing a retirement stipulation. So I'm going with Y2J. Even though and I'm surprised he's 0-3 against MJF. Not surprised as a knock on MJF. I didn't care for him when he was Cody's ally or like Cody was his mentor. But the second he turned heel, just like QT Marshall, these guys are really good heels. They know how to get the heat, and they do a good job. They command the heat, and they get it. They get it, and they get it. And I'm sure a lot of guys in the WWE get it too, but there's only so much they can do. There's only so much they can do when you're that micromanaged. So we do have Seth Rollins here taking on Cesaro in what looks to be sort of a seesaw match here. What's funny, it is a live watch along for right now for SmackDown. We're halfway through SmackDown, and I've been talking more about AEW. That's just where my brain is right now because it's just it's fun to have something to look forward to again. And watching the WWE feels so much more like a chore. And AEW is like something to look forward to. And I'm so glad it's not TNA 2.0. Because TNA was atrocious. I mean, let's just be honest. It had its moments. I love, what's his name, that did the Ric Flair impressions. That guy was awesome. Jay Lethal. I don't know what he's doing now. But that guy is great. He is absolutely great. I'm actually surprised he's not in AEW. But again, if it's for the sake of not having it not be TNA 2.0, and that was the decision on their part, or maybe he just doesn't want to be there, I couldn't say. But, I mean, this is anything but TNA, which is great. Because we don't want that. Then we have Rusev taking on Eddie Kingston. And again, Eddie Kingston, huge fan of Eddie Kingston out of Yonkers, and he's a local guy to my area. I honestly didn't know him before AEW, but I've read up on him, and he's been doing this thing for a long time too. And it's cool that Moxley gave him that rub. And I actually like him better as a heel, but he's actually a very likable guy as a babyface. And I love that he comes to the ring with this DMX shirt. Again, he's believable and he's likable, like me. That's going to be a good match for the TNT Championship. I don't know who's going to win or who's going to lose. I see Rusev honestly going over from a win-loss perspective, but this match could be a show stealer. I mean, both these guys can work. Rusev is in probably the best shape of his career. Eddie Kingston is awesome, I guess you'd call him more of a brawler style guy. But Rusev is supposed to be an animal, and I don't want to use the word beast, but he's supposed to be that. I'm just thinking to myself as Cesaro's doing the swing on Seth Rollins for like 80 revolutions, which is cool. I just don't like the way they fucking film it. This was a WrestleMania match. Why are they giving away WrestleMania matches for free? So that's another knee-jerk reaction by the WWE. And again, I really haven't been paying too much attention to this match because we've been talking about other things, but maybe we should, because these guys, this is a WrestleMania match here on Smackdown Live. I just realized that. Let's check into the commentary a little bit. It is a watch-along after all.
You might be right.
Whoa. Rollins over the top rope, actually hit the floor with both feet. Wow. What a running uppercut. Whoa. Seth did him with a chair. I love a good steel chair attack. Can't hate on that.
After the swing was delivered to Rollins yet again. Seth Rollins embarrassed and humiliated by Cesaro, and it sent Seth off the deep end.
Wow. This guy snap. I love a good snap in the world of pro wrestling.
Cesaro is helpless. He has no idea that Seth Rollins is stalking him. Oh God, we've seen some Edge moves earlier on in the matchup. And this is something that Edge did a number of times over the summer. Rollins said he was going to use Edge's fuel to move forward and crossface. But that Edge called the gas down for him.
I like that Cesaro's trying to tap out. Seth has him, by the way, right now. It looks like a piece of a steel chair, that like a bar, and he just fucking was stretching Cesaro's mouth open. Actually pretty funny. Gotta love a good snapping out. What is he saying?
Still haunted by SummerSlam. The radar superstar.
By the way, why can't you call it a curb stomp? The word stomp just sounds so stupid. Because there already is a stomp. A stomp is when I'm not going to get up, but like you stomp people when you fucking use your foot and you stomp them. Like it's just so stupid. So what do you call that? Do you change the name of that now? Just call it a curb stomp. I don't get it. What are they afraid of? Just like when they called up the War Raiders to the main roster. At first it was the Viking Experience. Then it was the Viking Raiders. And everybody made their NFL joke here comment. But seriously, like, why can't you say War Raiders? What's the big deal? Does that mean you could not have an Ultimate Warrior? Think about that. You can't have the word warrior without the word war. So what's the difference? I don't understand. Like, what do they call that? Standards and practices? Like, the WWE, if they probably do have a big standards and practices department these days. They got to get rid of that. The last thing professional wrestling needs is standards and practices. Let the networks handle that. I guarantee you the WWE has their own internal standards and practices for sure. And that's not good. That's just another thing to make the product not good. Edge coming out to Cesaro's defense. We forget his name at one point was Antonio Cesaro. Now just Cesaro. But I never thought I'd see Edge in the same ring as Cesaro. I mean, not that they're facing off or anything. But I'm super excited Edge is back. But I just want to see them maximize it. It's pretty interesting when he returned, and now you have his buddy Christian in AEW. You got Matt Hardy in AEW. You got Jeff Hardy in the WWE. Will these guys, and by these guys I mean Jeff and Edge, will their careers end in the WWE? At first we thought it was a unanimous conclusion. Of course they are. So that's another interesting thing. Another thing AEW I think does well, and again, I call it like I see it. Just like I do, we're not going to ever talk politics on the show, but when I do talk about politics on other shows, I just call it like I see it. But they do a really good job, in my opinion, of balancing out the younger talent and the older talent. And the older talent in AEW isn't just chicken fodder to put over younger talent like it is elsewhere. Now, Edge, because he was such a top guy, and given his status, they'll never do that with him. But you've seen it happen over, and you're seeing it right now with Jeff Hardy. And not even that he's putting people over and only putting people over. I'm not even saying that. But just the way they're fucking using him. It's atrocious. And I don't know. I feel like Jeff cares. And I feel like, and I'm not saying Dolph Ziggler doesn't care. What I'm saying is Dolph Ziggler's cool with the situation. He's getting paid. He doesn't give a shit. He works when he has to work. I don't even mean he doesn't give a shit. I'm just saying he's cool with the situation. Right? There's a difference between not giving a shit and being cool with your situation. Jeff Hardy, you gotta feel like he does care somewhat about his situation, especially with his brother being in AEW and having his own stable. Or is it a faction? I think it's a stable. I want to call it a stable. Hardy Family Office doesn't have its own Wikipedia page, so I honestly don't know. There's no one to tell me. I actually like what they've been doing with Baron Corbin. I just like how he called the, by the way, on fire. Another on fire chick. Backstage. He fucking rolls up in what looked like a Bentley, and he fucking gives the keys to the announcer. I like that. That was pretty good. See, for as much as I gripe, there's stuff I like too. So we got the KO show. Kevin Owens, a guy I just like because I feel like he's one of us and he made it to the top. I actually, when he came out for the Open US title challenge, when John Cena was doing that, and actually, we should point out that last Monday night, that triple threat match not only was the US title match, but it looks like Damien Priest, who it looks like they're putting a lot of steam behind, by the way. It looks like Damien Priest is going to bring back, in storyline at least, the US title Open challenge. And hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. The US title Open challenge is one of the very few bright points that you could put on the WWE's resume from the last 10 years. Very well done. And I will admit, I popped at home for KO coming out. That was great. It was super unexpected. It really was. It was super unexpected. And then I didn't he win? Yeah, he actually won. So not only does he come out, he wins. Very good stuff. So, running down the card here, we just went over Miro or Rusev. I like to call these guys by their WWE names. So in some instances, John Moxley is such a better name than Dean Ambrose. Let's be honest. I think he's got one more run in him as Dean Ambrose, whether he thinks so or not. I think he does. But we'll see. Time will tell. I mean, he definitely never has to. It wouldn't be for money if he ever did. But I think a lot of these guys now are going to have leverage to be like, look, the money's fine. The number of days are fine. But what does JR always say besides Big Show on TNT? He says cash and creative. All right. If Moxley ever comes back to the WWE, it ain't going to be about the cash. He's going to want, and he's going to have leverage to have input on his creative. And he should. And look, he came in with the Shield, and he appeared to be the leader of that faction. See, I just used the word faction as opposed to stable. I don't know if I'm using those words right, but I'm pretty sure I am. But he was great, and his mannerisms actually matched the guy on this mug here. And I think at one point Lawler pointed that out. And I don't think Lawler is a guy that lets McMahon talk in his ear. I'm pretty sure from what I've heard that like whenever they use Lawler, like that shit doesn't fly with him. I actually met Lawler once. And he was super nice, especially like you could tell he was probably a little annoyed that I came up to him and didn't buy anything from his table. But it was right after he had the heart attack on Raw, which I'm not laughing at that he had the heart attack. I'm laughing that like, what was it, 2 weeks later, he was wrestling again in Memphis. And he was doing a signing up here at a convention. It wasn't a Jerry Lawler signing. It was like a big convention with a lot of people. But I went up to him and I was just like, Jar, how are you doing, man? How's your heart? Even then, like, I probably said something so nice to him because that is nice to fucking ask the guy how he's doing legitimately. Probably couldn't be mad at me for that, but he probably would rather a non-fan give him money than a fan come up to him and ask, you know what I mean? Because they're there to make money. But, and you know, at that point, I think I broke the barrier a little bit, and it was cool just to interact with him. But he was nice to me, regardless of whatever stories you might hear about the guy. Nice as far as I know. All right, let's listen to Edge.
I know the game he's playing, and it's a dangerous one, but it's got to stop so that what happened to Cesaro tonight doesn't keep happening, because it will. So, Seth, I'm coming down the barrel, and I'm talking directly to you. I'm challenging you to a match next week on SmackDown. Edge versus Rollins 2, Madison Square Garden.
Dude, Madison Square Garden.
Do it again, you won't be the same. I told you. This doesn't end well.
What's funny is I wonder if the talent needs to show a vaccine passport in order to get into the Garden like the fans do. That's pretty interesting to me. Now, this segment, it is a watch along after all. It's not just a wrestling show, it's also a watch along. When our boy Baron Corbin comes out, because I actually do like his creative right now. I actually think his creative is legitimately creative. KO actually looks like he's gotten into better shape. Maybe he's doing some DDP yoga. I'm surprised. Let's hear what he's saying. Just watch along. It's okay. We can do that. Oh, here's our boy. Dude, I like his Titantron. Happy Corbin. I don't know. Wait, so they renamed this guy Happy. Hold on. I was just giving his creative a compliment. And then they rename him to Happy Corbin. What the fuck? I have no words. I have absolutely no words. But
It's amazing. I am so excited. I am so happy to be a part of the Kevin Owens show. I gotta cheer for you. All right. There you go. Kevin, it feels good, man. I want to come out here first off, and I want to say thank you. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today, wearing this $3,000 suit, this $47,000 white gold Rolex. I wouldn't have stole Big E's briefcase. I wouldn't have gone to Vegas. I'd still be eating spaghetti out of a can instead of that juicy, tender, A5 Japanese Wagyu beef. First of all, let me get this. You're not going to put any of this on me. Look, I know why you're mad. You want that $100 back, right? Look, I don't have it. I left my wallet in the Rolls Royce out back. But I know somebody who might have it, my special guest.
I like, by the way, that the guest has a guest.
So guest. What special guest? You know him really well. He is a social media megastar. He went the distance with Floyd Money.
Jeez.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, who I've discussed on the show before, he must have some sort of part-time deal with the WWE. This is hilarious stuff, man. It's actually a good site. Everything except for Baron Corbin's name, I approve. And my approval, by the way, is all that matters for the WWE. Look at that. He gets better too every time. Big heat. I like that. I like that he gets heat.
Thanks for having me on your show, man. Thanks for having me. Well, I really didn't invite you, did I? I wouldn't subject these poor people to that. But you know what, Logan? While I have you here,
this reminds me of actually a pretty decent Piper's Pit.
Dynamics kind of interesting. By the way, you guys look super cool doing that thing. Very cool, but it's weird because, correct me if I'm wrong, after you lost the Big E at SummerSlam, didn't he call you? I know where you're going with that. Yes, he did call me that, but I took it as a compliment. We got to talking. Logan and I, we had a lot in common. Yeah, we're actually all good now. So this past weekend, after my brother beat Tyron Woodley, which happened, we ended up hanging out. I won a bunch of money on that fight too. You guys hung out.
I just love that Logan Paul's a heat-seeking missile. That's pretty good. I gotta say, KO definitely, whatever he's doing is working. He looks like $1 million compared to 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Delusional, useless pieces of trash to ever step foot in the WWE ring. Logan Paul and Baron Corbin is here too. Kevin, are you sure you want to talk like that to someone who's about to give you $100? The way you look,
This ain't that bad.
you could use this a lot more than I could. Yeah, you know what?
I'll tell you what. This guy Logan Paul, man, just prints money. Good for him. Good for him. We don't hate on the Juice Giorgio Network season 2. We appreciate.
To the back and keep watching and never show your face in WWE again. That's no way to treat a guest.
Actually, I'm going to do a quick audio check and see if this actually works.
He's not like Mayweather. Action. I mean, real quick. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Scared the shit out of me. Yeah, it worked. It works well enough. Cool.
Look at Paul, so excited.
This was not a terrible segment at all.
You're not that guy.
So you know what they're doing? I said open up with the main event. They're doing the slow to fast, if you want to call it that, or the small to big, if you want to call it that, because the last couple segments are pretty decent. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins is legitimately a WrestleMania match. And this was very much like a Piper's Pit type segment. I was just going to say, where is the neurotic Jewish guy, Sami Zayn? And he's coming up next against Dominic Mysterio. But that's got to be the last segment before the Finn Balor match. That's going to be a good match. That's going to be a really good match. I'm looking forward to that. Roman Reigns has really come into his own as the heel. He's been the top guy for, 7 years now? Pretty much since Cena handed him the baton. But embrace the heat. Had they turned Cena heel in like 2007, 2008, 2009, that would have been so much fire. And instead you had, and then when Rock came back, you basically had two baby faces. Even though The Rock was clearly the heel in that feud. But you could have had a heel Cena versus a babyface Rock. And it's funny because if you had that, assuming Cena stayed heel for that feud, and they could have acted exactly the same, but you would have had legitimate heat on Cena, and you would have had Rock act. It would have been almost like a heel versus heel match. But I mean, Rock could never be heel again. It's impossible. If Rock ever came back, which I guess they're trying to do, especially now as a CM Punk knee-jerk reaction, even if he acted like a heel and played a heel, he couldn't be heel. He would never get booed. Even Cena now, because we never know when we're going to see him come back. It's like, and you saw sort of the same pattern with The Rock. He had a little bit of a different situation back in 2004. But when Rock first went out to Hollywood in like 2000, he came back consistently for a SummerSlam program, for a WrestleMania program. So you never really felt like he left. And then all of a sudden, he left. But the appearances got less and less frequent as the time went on. And you're sort of starting to see the same thing with Cena, where like last year he showed up for Mania, and now we really haven't seen or heard from him until the SummerSlam program that he worked with Roman. So that's over a year without him. So who knows, man? We may not see him again until 2023 in the WWE. Now Carmella, who's featured right now, just smoking hot, but really didn't need to do all that work to her. I'll never understand why she chose to go that route, but it's her life. She can do whatever she wants. She still looks great, but I don't know. There's the natural look, to me at least, I thought looked a little bit better. So we got Sami Zayn coming out, doing his neurotic Jewish thing, which is cool. Smackdown brought to you by Progressive, who is not paying me to say that, but I'll say it anyway. All right, so back to All Out. Got a few more matches to go on the rundown here. We're going to have the Young Bucks taking on the Lucha Brothers. That's going to be an insane match. Yeah, and in a steel cage. That's right, for the Tag Team Championship. That match is going to be straight fire. Dude, I think there's somebody in the SmackDown crowd wearing the same exact bootleg WrestleMania 8 shirt that I'm wearing. By the way, I do want to point out about this shirt. It's not even the 1992 version of Macho Man. But this is the 92 version of Flair for sure. But you know what? I like this version of Macho Man way better than the 92 version in terms of looks-wise. I thought his 80s look was a lot cooler than his 90s look. But then, like, he reinvented himself in 98, 99. His 99 look was pretty cool. So, yeah, look, that match is... That could be a show stealer. The Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. That could be good. Then we have Dr. Britt Baker, who, as we all know, teased an Adam Cole appearance the other night. Maybe they're saving Adam Cole for the pay-per-view. Let's see what's going on with Adam Cole. As far as I know, he's done with the WWE. That's what we've been hearing. Let's check that out. Wow, I am 5 years older than Adam Cole. I didn't know I was that much older than him. I'm an old motherfucker. Wow, he's from Lancaster. Or we pronounce it Lancaster, but the locals call it Lancaster, I believe, is the right way to pronounce it. So they don't say. This would be Cole's final appearance in NXT, as his WWE contract expired later that week. So a lot of speculation. Dude, and we heard McMahon was really high on Adam Cole. So in a matter of a few weeks, you have Punk and Cole showing up in AEW. Yo, expect a lot more knee-jerk motherfucking reactions from the WWE. So yeah, that would be cool if they bring out Adam Cole. I think we're going to do a live show that night. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That Rey Mysterio Wu-Tang shirt is pretty dope. I would buy that. Not even forecasted to be the main event. They have it positioned in semi here on Wikipedia. CM Punk taking on Darby Allin. And I think they did a really good job sort of building this up. I like that you had Sting announcing that he wouldn't be at ringside. It would just be a straight up one-on-one match. Again, it's tough to do heel versus heel and babyface versus babyface. But they did a pretty decent job of building this up in just a matter of a couple of weeks. And we're all looking forward to it. This sort of feels like in 1996 when you had Ultimate Warrior coming back to take on Triple H at WrestleMania 12. Again, none of us knew it was going to be a fucking 2-minute squash match. But it was exciting. And I still remember being excited about it after the fact that just the Warrior was back. I mean, it was a very lackluster run that he had in 96, but it was just in a time when they were getting their ass kicked by WCW. That return the Warrior had could have been a shot of adrenaline to the WWF. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. But if you go back to that 96 roster, I mean, we could have had Ultimate Warrior versus Shawn Michaels. We could have had Ultimate Warrior versus Bret Hart. We could have had him against Stone Cold. There's actually a match where he fought Kane, but it was when Kane was Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS. So there actually is technically an Ultimate Warrior versus Kane match, or versus Glenn Jacobs, however you want to put it. That would be a great get for my other show, You Got Juice, to have Kane on as a fucking guest. That would be awesome. I don't know what I would have to do to get him on. I mean, I could probably tell him I'm a fellow libertarian, although I'm more of a conservatarian, but I'm definitely some sort of tarian. I got some tarian in me. And then in the main event, and this is what I love about AEW, because all they had this guy Christian doing in the WWE was putting over younger talent, and then eventually not doing anything at all. And now he's main eventing one of AEW's, I guess you could call it Big Four pay-per-views or Big Four show of the year, whatever. And it just goes to show you what actually can be done. And that's going to be a good fucking match. Him against Kenny Omega for the strap. I don't expect a win by Christian for the belt, but again, who knows? Maybe it might happen because we're not expecting it, right? But it's definitely going to be a great fucking match. And Christian looks to be in the best shape of his whole career. You know, before we were talking about Rusev being in the best shape of his career, so was Christian. By far. And I think I have to gratuitously point out every episode that I was at WrestleMania 20 in the Garden. And I'm telling you, man, my favorite match from that whole night was Y2J against Christian. Against Christian. And I've heard Y2J go back and talk about that match. And he doesn't even consider that one of his favorite matches, and I do. I think his absolute favorite match was against Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 19, which was, it's hard to argue. I do like that match better. But in terms of just WrestleMania 20 matches, I really liked Christian and Y2J. And I actually really enjoyed the Evolution versus Rock and Sock Connection match. And that was, you know, before we were talking about Rock's last appearance in the WWE, or how the appearances got less and less frequent. Well, after WrestleMania 20, that was it. That was it till he showed up to talk some shit 6 years later, 7 years later, 7 years later. 7 years is like an eternity in wrestling years. Wow, so they're advertising Brock Lesnar coming up next week at the Garden for Super Smackdown. I don't know what the frig Super Smackdown means. I guess they got to do something because they're in the Garden. And you can't just book the Garden last minute, or maybe you can in the world we're living in now. I'm not sure. But I really don't feel like the Garden would be a knee-jerk reaction kind of a thing. Well, Finn has to speak. Let's see what he's got to say.
Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Any final thoughts before this match?
Kayla, for 5 years, people have been asking me the same question. Finn, what would have happened if you didn't get injured in 2016? Well, tonight, I answer the questions.
There you go. By the way, and he also got injured at the hand of Seth Rollins, and so did Sting. Thanks a lot, Seth. It is cool to see Finn Balor back on the main roster. He did his thing in NXT, but he actually likes being in NXT, which is cool. And I think he sort of built himself back up in NXT a little bit. He's coming back with like a new look. I like it. Definitely like it. So if you think about it, we got 24 minutes left for SmackDown. Decent amount of time for a match. And there's really not that much negativity towards the show tonight, other than the usual. They really just got to break out of their formulaic stuff. They gotta fire a lot of these writers. Let the talent have some input on their own creative. In my opinion.
Balor is ready. He is the challenger with his big opportunity here tonight. Who the hell are you?
I like that. That's a nice heel move. Attacking the guy before the bell rings. That's great. Great stuff. Classic heel stuff. Oh, the Street Profits coming out. This really wasn't a terrible SmackDown. Like I said, the Baron Corbin segment was good. The segment prior to that was good. And you got a World Heavyweight Championship match. I mean, obviously, we know which way they're leaning now with the booking, that Finn Balor got the shit kicked out of him before the match. But, hey, these things tend to happen. It is pro wrestling, after all. I also think it's goofy, and I'm sure every promotion does this. I've seen it happen in indie shows. I always think it's goofy when somebody gets chased in the arena. I don't know. But it's like a wrestling thing, so I just accept it. It's okay. I mean, I sort of liked when The Undertaker, when I was a kid, when he would stalk people and he'd walk 2 miles an hour. Or not even. Like 2 miles a day. Trying to fucking stalk somebody. That's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, All Out, I think it's going to be a good show. No reason not to be, especially with Punk coming back. And I'm sure he's been training his ass off. So I don't really expect to see much ring rust. I'm sure he's had a bunch of practice matches. Probably even before he showed up on TV. But, yeah, I don't expect a 5-star classic out of this Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns match, but it's cool. It's always cool when you see a match for the heavyweight championship on TV. And I do expect at least to be the slightest bit entertained, as we got 20 minutes left till Rampage. Hey, you never know what you're going to get with Rampage. So that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. RK Bro. I like it. Again, in a world where there's not a lot to like and there's not that many highlights, there's two things, and right now they're in an angle together, that never are going to let you down on Monday Night Raw. And those two things are RK Bro and AJ Styles. What a run. And I'm beating a dead horse with a stick because this audience would know more than any audience. We don't have to talk about how AJ Styles has really overachieved in his run with the WWE. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody ever thought he'd even get there. And wow, he got there, and pun intended, talk about making an impact. I hate when people say on wrestling shows making an impact. It's like, choose a different word, because impact is garbage. All right, I guess we can get rid of this window now. since we ran down the whole card. So, hey, Juice Heads, back to me. So, yeah. All Out's looking good. And again, I'm not really that amped up for Monday Night Raw, but like I said, it has its bright spots, but as a longtime wrestling fan, you just got to be patient. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. It's not like every segment is going to be 5-star, but we're really just waiting now for this match to start and then for Rampage to start. So all in all, a good Friday night. I have really the only complaint that I really have is this Happy Corbin stuff. What the fuck is Happy Corbin? Now we're using adjectives. What was the adjective, big boy? Wait, what did Kevin Nash say? The keyword was the adjective, play, or something like that. But now we're naming people with adjectives. Awesome. I'm glad. But I'm interested to see like how much Finn Balor is going to sell this ambush. Because he may not sell it at all. I don't know. But they're probably going to make him sell it for the whole match, if I had to guess. As a 30-year wrestling fan, I think it's a safe bet to say it's going to cost him the match. But who knows? Maybe the GMs will give him a rematch as a result of that. We'll see. These NXT commercials are intriguing me because I don't know what the hell they're advertising, but they keep saying September 14th and throwing a lot of colors. It reminds me of the old In Living Color intro. All right, like, did he really get hurt that bad that they have to have like fucking paramedics out there for him? I mean, we know he's going to wrestle because it would be very out of his character to take a little bit of an ass whooping and not get back up. So I don't expect him to not actually go through with the match. But he's really selling that. He's really selling the ribs. Let's see what these say. Is that? Watch him come out next week, like all taped up, a la Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 2. Man, he is fucking shredded.
And his opponent, accompanied by his special counsel, Paul Heyman, standing in at a weight of 265 pounds.
He really put that weight back on after his last battle with health. He looks good too, man. He looks the part. He definitely looks the part.
The tenacity of Finn Balor and what he brings to the table in this match tonight, hence the attack by the Usos. Balor says he's ready to go. He can't be 100%. He's favoring his ribs. Let's see what Reigns focuses on as we get set for the Universal Championship match live in Jacksonville on Friday night.
At least Michael Cole sounds enthused and excited about the fucking match. I will say that.
Usos started damaging the ribs of the challenger, Finn Balor. Smart move right out of the gate. Reigns back in Balor to the corner, and then what a BO! Sending Balor across the ring. And again, favoring the midsection. Yeah, the power of the Universal Champion. Utilizing
Roman Reigns with one of the strongest hip tosses I've seen in the game. Why? Because Finn Balor landed on those hurt ribs of his. I want to hear the. I'm guessing, educated, of course, that he's selling his ribs, but I want to hear what the announcers refer to the injury as.
Had one of the most dominant runs in the history of WWE. He's been Universal Champion for over a year. He has knocked out Hall of Fame caliber superstars during this run, And he wants that Finn Balor to the list. Roman Reigns just battling the challenger in the corner. I don't know if this is a smart decision by Finn Balor to continue this matchup.
Wow.
This is what Finn's got to do. Stick and move. Stay out of the line of fire of Roman Reigns. Low drop kick to the knee, and now kicks to the back of the leg of Roman Reigns. You take out the leg.
Again, not to knock Corey Graves, but it was nice and refreshing to have Pat McAfee on SmackDown. So I don't know all of a sudden he's back on why he's back on SmackDown, but he's good. I mean, Corey Graves is very solid at his job for sure.
Maybe after the Usos attack, Roman still could under.
Oh, what an uppercut that Finn ran into. Wow. That's like the opposite of Cesaro's running uppercut. It's one thing to run an uppercut. It's another thing to run and catch an uppercut. I don't know what's worse in a shoot. In a shoot, it's probably worse to run yourself and catch the uppercut, I would think. I'm disappointed because we know they have to take X amount of commercial breaks per show. I'm disappointed that they didn't take out or get rid of all the commercial breaks prior to this match. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if it's something with Fox. We're like, at 9:48 p.m., you must take a commercial break. But if I were them and I had, and if it were up to me, because I don't know if it's up to them or not. That's actually a good question. Maybe one of my juice heads out there knows the answer. But do they have any input? I mean, look, you can't go a half hour without commercials. That's crazy. But can you add like one extra commercial per commercial break to extend the time of the last segment of the show? That's something I'm actually pretty curious about. And I don't know who I could ask that question to. But I don't like a commercial break for a world heavyweight title match. I just don't like it. I don't like it for any match. But especially a fucking heavyweight championship match. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. So. Hey, it ain't easy doing a solo show to begin with. It ain't easy trying to commentate something by yourself, but we're doing it here. We're making things happen on hashtag JGNS2, baby. And I'm here with you. We're in this together. Let's see. I did have a list of other topics to talk about, but I think I burned through them all. Which is fine because we really want to focus on this heavyweight championship match. So if we get back to it, the sooner the better. But I will say, and I don't know if it's specifically because of the CM Punk knee-jerk reactions going on, but Raw really felt different this week than the prior few weeks before it. And I think that has a lot to do with the knee jerk. But, you know, different for the sake of being different isn't always good. It's just not like, I know what we're going to do. We're going to have people come out before the other people are done with their segment. We're going to have the next segment come out first before the other people leave. That's sort of what made it feel different. And maybe it wasn't as high tempo and fast paced as I gave it credit for earlier in the show. But, and again, the bar's not high for Raw. The bar's not high. But you do feel like it's a little bit on the upswing. A little bit. which is good. It's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So, all right, Roman is now setting up for the Superman punch. We'll see what happens here. Misses it. I was watching. Thank you, Cole, for the update. It was all Reigns during the commercial break. Thank you. I was watching Titans, this DC show for nerds, basically. And there's like a Superboy on it or something. I'm not super familiar with the character. And he was setting up to do the Superman punch. And I found myself saying he's copying Roman Reigns. Which I don't know if that's funny or sad.
Heavy bag by the champion. Balor answers with the overhead kick. Reigns is down. Balor stirring.
Finn Balor's making a comeback here.
Fight through the obvious pain. Finn Balor back to his feet, looking to take out the Universal Champion.
All right. See, now I feel like we're at the point where Finn, well, now he's selling the ribs again.
Gut from the head of the table stops the challenger's momentum. And again to the gut because the Usos attacked the midsection of Finn Balor with steel.
They're diagnosing it as a midsection attack. I said ribs, but no, it was not the ribs. It was the midsection.
I don't know where Finn's finding the will to continue, but it is flowing through the challenger's veins. He understands this may be his only opportunity. It's been 5 years to get
ramming Roman into that corner.
The first ever Universal Champion, Finn Balor. Roman Reigns misses wildly. Balor with a kick.
That's right, Balor with a kick. It's nice. It's nice to hear a wrestling move by the commentator.
And Roman Reigns buys himself some time to regroup. Finn Balor. He gets these little rallies going, Corey, but just can't sustain them.
Right, because he got attacked. Oh, the ring skirt. Are they not allowed to say ring skirt anymore? Roman Reigns is trapped in the ring skirt. Finn now going for a dive. Is he going to land it? Dude, see, that was a good dive without telegraphing too bad. That's why these guys are main eventers. Oh, missed it. It's too early for the match to end. We got 6 minutes to go. Talk about a time where you would need like SmackDown overtime. They must want it now more than ever. And they're never going to get that with Fox. But they need it. They need it, man. Because they know everybody's flipping to TNT at fucking 10 o'clock.
Taking his head saying this one should be over already. But Finn Balor's showing a tremendous amount of heart here tonight. Keep in mind, he was beat up by the Usos before this match even started. Anyone going to question if Finn Balor has the heart, has the will of a champion? But is tonight Finn's night? For a year, Roman Reigns has been a step ahead of the game.
All right, Roman setting up the spear now. Oh, counter, small package by Finn. I feel like at the end of the match, they're going to use the attack as the reason why Finn loses, but he's gotten some good offense in.
Finn needs to keep his foot on the gas pedal. Keep applying the pressure. We are moments away from a new Universal Champion. Balor keeps this up.
There's no way. I don't see it. I think he will succumb because of the pre-match ambush. He did just land his finishing move. And Rock and Cena are just as guilty of this as anybody. I hate people kicking out of finishes. I detest it. because then it's not really a finish, is it? Now, under certain circumstances, under certain conditions, and I mean very few and far in between, if you need to use the finish multiple times because the match is that big and it only happens like once a year, okay, cool. But it just goes on way too much. Now, are they going to say that his finish wasn't as effective because he got ambushed before the match? Probably. Because he got attacked in the midsection, not the ribs. All right. Let's hear them. Let's see if they refer to the ambush. He sold the ribs after he hit him with that too, by the way. A low blow.
Well, let's not forget, Corey, Balor was also attacked by the Usos before this match even began. Nonetheless, Roman Reigns' year-long dominance continues.
Year-long.
Beast Brock Lesnar is working.
I like a year-long reign.
The Beast Brock Lesnar is working next week live at Madison Square Garden.
They're actually going off the air a couple minutes early. They're giving us time to flip the TNT. I wonder why that is.
Saturday on Fox.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, we will go here on our YouTube TV app. Speaking of The Rock, he's actually on TNT right now. The movie Central Intelligence. I do miss him in wrestling, for sure. What an asset. And if you think about what he did in the amount of time he did it, it's pretty incredible. Debuts in 96 is about as hot as ice. Not him, but like his persona and his character. Reinvents himself a year, not even a year later, like 10 months later, 11 months later, just completely reinvents himself. And just a rocket ship of a career since then. Oh, they're already teasing. We just saw Rock and CM Punk on the same channel within like fucking seconds. They're already teasing CM Punk for Rampage. Rampage Live starts now. All right. This is what we've been waiting for. And SmackDown wasn't even that bad tonight. On a scale of 1 to 10, you got to give SmackDown at least a 6.5 to 7. At least. I really like the Rampage intro, too. It's pretty cool. And I like that you could have a different show and not have it be a different brand. I am so anti-brand split because it means nothing, honestly. At least the first brand split was like a little unique. They almost made it look like it was two different companies. How do you have a brand split and you have the same set? Like, that's mistake number one. And it was cool when they did the brand split and each brand had their own pay-per-views Each brand had different sets. Each brand had their own titles. And when you had just one champion that can float in between the two brands, it felt like it meant something much more. All right, who's coming out?
Very special live AEW.
Very special. Go home show, baby.
And the lights go out.
We got Y2J on the commentary.
And here he comes.
Great at best in the world at what he does. Who the fuck is this? Oh, it's Aleister Black? It's got to be Aleister Black. Yeah. At least the guy's doing what he wants to do. 20-minute time limit. Malachi Black. Very cool looking entrance too.
Just take a look at this ring entrance, the vibe that he brings, the attitude. Not only is he tough in the ring, his persona makes him very intimidating, and that's half the battle right out of the gate. I'm telling you,
Y2J is very good at the commentary.
but he has no respect for the people in front of him.
Mark Henry, not so much.
Followed up on every single promise he has made.
But he looks awesome. This is a really cool entrance.
Yeah, and that's true.
All right, Juice Heads. Well, it's been a pleasure. I hope we helped each other get through SmackDown. Enjoy AEW Rampage, and we will catch you most likely on Sunday for a all-out watch-along. So we will catch you then. Peace.